I need you to breathe slowly before we enter this. What we're about to explore is not for the average seeker. This is not beginner spirituality. This isn't about healing crystals or soft affirmations. This is for the 1%, those who were not only chosen by the dark, but who carry within them 3 rare demonic vibrations that mark them as elite. Not evil, not broken, but dangerous to illusion, to false light, to systems built on control. If you're still listening, you already feel it, that pull. That whisper in your bones that you were never meant to fit in, that you've been fighting a war no one else can see. And maybe, just maybe, you've been trying to suppress a power that was never meant to be tamed, only understood.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
I've met thousands of awakened souls. I've traveled to ancient temples, sat with shamans, decoded old grimoires in forgotten languages. I've seen what most people would call myth. And in all of that, I've only come across a handful less than 1% of individuals who carry these 3 vibrations. They don't announce themselves. They often don't even know what they are until something breaks, until their life falls apart, until they lose everything that made them feel safe. And then something inside them awakens, not in light, in fire, in shadow, in remembrance. This video is not to entertain you. This is a summoning. If these vibrations live in you, you will feel it not just in your mind, but in your nervous system, in your blood, in your dreams. The first vibration is the vibration of sacred corruption. This is not what you think. Corruption in its purest form is not about evil. It's about dismantling systems from the inside. Those who carry this frequency are often born into environments where everything looks right on the surface: religious families, structured societies, seemingly perfect roles. But deep inside, they feel like a virus in the matrix. They see the hypocrisy. They feel the lie humming beneath the surface, and they can't unsee it. They're not just rebels. They're infiltrators. Their presence alone begins to unravel institutions, belief structures, ideologies. These are the ones who speak one sentence and cause a family system to collapse, who write one post and expose a spiritual cult. Their vibration is not loud, it's lethal in silence. They don't fight chaos, they become precision inside chaos. They were sent into the system not to obey it, but to corrupt the false light from within. But this vibration comes with a price. If you carry it, you've likely experienced alienation your whole life. You've been misunderstood, targeted, even demonized by people who felt your energy before they knew your name. They couldn't explain it, but they hated how you made them feel. Because you didn't just see their mask, you refused to validate it. And so they tried to shut you down. And maybe you believed them for a while. Maybe you tried to become normal, to dim your fire, to worship at the altar of politeness. But deep inside, the corruption was still alive. Not the kind that decays, but the kind that liberates. So let me ask you, have you ever felt like your very existence was threatening to people who claim to love you? Have you ever felt like your truth was poisonous to their illusion? Then you might be carrying the first demonic vibration. The second demonic vibration is the vibration of sovereign rebellion. This one doesn't just disrupt, it refuses to bow. It shows up in those who have been given ultimatums by the universe: conform or awaken, obey or burn. And they chose to burn. These are the ones who've walked away from everything: family, religion, identity. Not because they hate it, but because they outgrew it. Their soul could not be caged. They didn't just break rules, they rewrote the laws of their own reality. If you carry this vibration, you've probably felt more kinship with chaos than comfort. You've probably had to lose yourself 1,000 times in order to find the one version of you that can't be controlled. But rebellion without sovereignty becomes destruction. That's why this vibration is rare. It only fully activates when the soul learns to own its power. Not just emotionally, but energetically. When you stop fighting systems and start creating new realities. These beings don't just escape the matrix, they build exit doors for others. Their aura is confrontational, not because they're aggressive, but because they embody refusal. They refuse to play roles, refuse to stay silent, refuse to participate in their own diminishment. And that energy becomes a weapon and a map. So here's my question. Have you ever stood in a room full of people and felt like you were the only one who wasn't hypnotized? Have you ever been punished for simply not complying with unspoken rules? Then you might be carrying the second vibration. The third and rarest vibration is the vibration of divine predation. This one is almost never spoken about because it terrifies people even in spiritual communities. This vibration is not soft. It is predatory in nature. Not in the toxic sense, but in the cosmic sense. It's the energy of the hunter, the psychic assassin, the soul who was sent here to track, expose, and dismantle parasites in the astral and physical plane. These beings are often mistaken for narcissists, sociopaths, or manipulators, not because they are, but because their energy is dominant. They don't ask for space, they claim it. They don't seek permission, they move as if they own the frequency. And in a world trained to submit, they are seen as a threat to order. But in truth, they are a threat only to false order. They don't destroy innocence. They destroy predation itself. This vibration is born from lifetimes of spiritual warfare. These are the ones who have made contracts in the astral to confront dark entities, dismantle soul traps, and hunt down energetic parasites masquerading as light. They often have eyes that unsettle people not because they're cold, but because they see too much. They walk into a room and can instantly feel who's leaking energy, who's feeding off others, who's wearing a mask, and they don't flinch. They observe. They wait. And when the time is right, they strike. Not physically, not violently, but with truth so sharp it cuts through centuries of deception. So ask yourself this: have you ever felt like you're being watched by beings who know you're a threat to them? Have you ever known things about people you shouldn't know and felt no fear? Then you might be carrying the third, rarest vibration. These three vibrations, sacred corruption, sovereign rebellion, and divine predation, are not flaws. They're functions. They are the spiritual signatures of the elite dark chosen ones. Those who were not sent here to play nice, but to reshape the grid. And if you carry even one of them, your life will never be normal. You will never be able to settle for mediocrity. You will never be able to hide in the crowd. Because your aura was encoded with a different mission, not to fit in, but to restructure reality itself. You've probably already felt the cost, the isolation, the grief, the constant death and rebirth cycles, the feeling that no one on earth really sees you. That's the price of remembering who you are before the world was ready. But here's the truth no one told you. You didn't come here to be ready with the world. You came here to make the world ready for truth. And now that truth is waking up in you. The infernal contract, why you were chosen by the dark to dismantle illusion, and how to fulfill your mission without losing your humanity. There's a reason you've never felt like you belonged, not in family systems, not in school, not in religion, not even in many spiritual communities. It's not because something was wrong with you. It's because you were never meant to belong. You were meant to pierce. You were meant to enter this world with a vibration that doesn't harmonize with the illusion but shatters it. And that role can only be held by those who have signed what I call the infernal contract. A soul agreement made long before this lifetime, in realms where truth and deception wage war not on battlefields but in frequency. An agreement to carry the darkness not as evil, but as weaponized awareness. If you carry even one of the three rare demonic vibrations we explored, the vibration of sacred corruption, sovereign rebellion, or divine predation, then you've likely been initiated into that contract without even realizing it. The moment you awakened to the falseness of your environment, the moment you realized you could see things others couldn't, the moment you chose truth over comfort, even when it cost you everything that was your signature. The contract doesn't come in words. It comes in consequences, and it doesn't demand worship. It demands clarity. You are not a soldier. You are a force. And forces don't ask for permission. They arrive. But here's the paradox. The more power you carry in this contract, the more you will be tested not by your enemies, but by your own humanity. Because being chosen by the dark doesn't mean you abandon your heart. In fact, the elite dark chosen ones are required to master their heart more than anyone else. Why? Because without it, you become chaos without purpose, destruction without design, rage without direction. And the true mission of the infernal contract is not to destroy blindly, it is to dismantle precisely, and to know exactly where to strike, to know when to be silent and when to disrupt, to know how to walk into a room, feel the entire architecture of energy, and choose whether to collapse it or leave it intact. That level of discernment requires something few people talk about in spiritual circles: emotional intelligence. Not the fake kind. Not the kind that's about being calm and pleasant. The real kind. The kind that lets you feel rage without becoming it. The kind that lets you walk away from betrayal without becoming bitter. The kind that lets you witness darkness in others and in yourself without flinching. Because if you can't hold your own shadow, you'll never be able to hold the weight of your contract. You'll either collapse into self-sabotage Or worse, you'll start using your power in ways that corrupt you. That's the biggest trap of all. The dark doesn't destroy the chosen ones with fear. It destroys them with power they haven't mastered. So how do you fulfill the infernal contract without losing your humanity? You begin by remembering why you were chosen. Not because you were perfect, not because you were holy, but because you were precise, because you could go where no one else could, because you could hold energies that would break another person's mind, because you came here not to escape the dark but to speak its language and still choose consciousness. That's the mission. Not to be light, not to be pure, but to be clear, to be exact, to be undeniable in your presence and incorruptible in your soul. Let me ask you something now, something only a true dark chosen one will understand. Have you ever felt like you were being trained by pain itself? Like your suffering wasn't random, but surgical? Like every betrayal, every loss, every silence was designed to sharpen you? That's not trauma. That's refinement. That's your higher self, in alliance with the darker forces of evolution, putting you through initiations that most would never survive. And if you're still here, still listening, still breathing with fire in your ribs and thunder in your eyes, then you've passed tests others never even recognized as tests. You are not broken. You are encrypted. The world doesn't understand you because you were coded differently. You were born with the capacity to carry vibrations that don't just shift your life but restructure time, space, and perception around you. That's why people stare. Why animals get quiet when you're near. Why children either cry or gravitate toward you instantly. Your aura sends out signals that command recognition because your soul is archival. You've done this before. You carry ancient memory. And that memory is dangerous to the lie. But here's where it gets real. Carrying the infernal contract doesn't mean you operate without consequence. In fact, your karma is instant. Your field is so charged that whatever you think, feel, or speak begins to manifest immediately. That's why your thoughts must be sharp. Your words must be deliberate. Your actions must be aligned. Because the contract isn't just about power, it's about precision. You are not allowed to be sloppy with your energy. You are not allowed to be careless with your influence. You were given a sword not to swing wildly, but to cut through illusion at its root. So how do you stay grounded in this path? You must create rituals of remembrance. Not to worship, but to align. Every morning, before you touch the world, speak this aloud. I remember my contract. I walk in clarity. I wield truth. I destroy illusion. I am not here to be saved. I am here to reveal the lie and resurrect the soul hidden beneath it. This isn't just affirmation. It's activation. It speaks directly to your DNA, to the parts of you that are still sleeping, to the fragments you left in past lives, to the ancient agreements stored in your bones. Every time you say it, you wake yourself back up. You must also know when to disappear. The elite dark chosen ones do not operate in constant visibility. They move in and out of the grid. They show up when the code demands it and vanish when the mission is complete. They are not here to build followings. They are here to build fractures in the system that light can pour through later. That's their legacy, not statues, not popularity, but impact so deep that history itself begins to glitch. And finally, remember this: you are not here to be loved. You are here to be effective. Love may come, connection may come, but your highest allegiance is not to comfort. It's to clarity. You are not here to be understood by the masses. You are here to be recognized by the codes that govern the unseen world. And when you walk in alignment with that, the right forces, seen and unseen, will align with you. Not because you begged, but because you remembered. So I'll leave you with this. If you were the weapon the universe forged in secret, what illusion were you designed to shatter? What lie dies in your presence? And what truth are you now ready to activate no matter the cost? Because now, you're no longer just waking up. You're reporting for duty. The Black Crown awakens: how to harness the 3 demonic vibrations to influence reality, collapse false light, and rise as a sovereign force of the new era. Now that you've remembered now that the infernal contract has been activated in your awareness, there's no turning back. You have crossed the threshold. And what lies beyond isn't a fantasy realm of light and ease. It's the real arena. The place where your 3 rare demonic vibrations aren't just felt, they are wielded. Like weapons, like tools, like coded signatures of a soul that came here not to participate in the dream, but to awaken the dreamers through disruption, revelation, and command. The Black Crown isn't a title, it's a state of being. It's the moment you stop dimming your frequency to appease the wounded egos around you. It's the moment you stop asking for permission to speak, to move, to exist. The crown is invisible, but it pulses through your aura. It sits on your spine, not your head, because your authority doesn't come from external validation. It comes from energetic dominion. And dominion doesn't mean control over others. It means control over your own field, your emotions, your thoughts, your influence. When the Black Crown awakens, you no longer try to fit in. You no longer even try to lead. You simply exist as a sovereign force, and the world reorganizes itself around you. So how do you harness these 3 demonic vibrations without being consumed by them? First, you must understand that they are not here to make you righteous. They are here to make you real. Sacred corruption gives you the ability to see through spiritual bypassing, false light cults, and technologies of control disguised as peace. But that gift means you must also confront your own illusions. You can't carry the vibration of corruption unless you're willing to corrode the lies inside yourself first. That means killing the part of you that still wants to be liked, the part that wants to be seen as nice, the part that fears being called intense, too much, or dangerous. Because the truth is, you are dangerous, but only to those who profit from deception. Sovereign rebellion, the 2nd vibration, can't be wielded effectively if you're still rebelling from trauma. It must evolve into strategy. You're not here to burn down the system just to watch it fall. You're here to build something truer in its ashes. That means discipline. That means emotional mastery. That means knowing when to speak and when to let your silence do the work. Rebellion becomes sacred when it's not driven by ego, but by mission. And when you get that right, your energy becomes incontrovertible. People won't always agree with you, but they won't be able to deny your presence. You'll walk into a room and the air will shift, not because you're loud, but because your field is undeniable. Now, the third vibration, divine predation, is the most dangerous and the most sacred. To wield it, you must make peace with your own darkness, not suppress it, not transcend it, but integrate it. This vibration allows you to see the energetic parasites, the false prophets, the manipulative empaths, the spiritual narcissists hiding behind light-coded language. But to confront them, you must be clear enough not to mirror them. You don't expose illusion by becoming reactive. You expose it by being unshakable. Precision is your weapon. Aura command is your shield. When this vibration is embodied, you don't argue. You penetrate. You speak the one sentence that shatters an entire charade. And you do it without blinking. So here's the practical part. Ritual and structure are everything. You can't carry this level of frequency without an energetic system that keeps you grounded. Wake up each day and calibrate your field before the world touches it. Speak your codes. Claim your space. Say aloud, I command my domain. My aura is sovereign. My mission is active. I carry the three frequencies of disruption, rebellion, and discernment. I do not shrink. I do not explain. I do not ask. I wield truth. This is not a mantra. It's a field activation key. And when spoken daily, it begins to inform the way time, space, and energy respond to you. You must also learn to move in rhythmic silence. The elite dark chosen ones do not perform. They don't post for attention. They move in calculated waves. Visibility, then withdrawal. Expression, then silence. That's how they protect their nervous system while still impacting the grid. You're not here to be everywhere. You're here to be exactly where you're needed and nowhere else. Every action must be intentional. Every word must be encoded. Every exit must be a statement. You don't speak to be heard. You speak to reprogram the field. And as you rise, you will be tested. The moment your black crown begins to pulse, the matrix will respond. People around you may become triggered. You may lose relationships, jobs, even entire communities. This is not punishment. This is confirmation. The more false structures collapse around you, the more you know you're embodying your mission. Stay the course. Do not flinch. Do not try to explain yourself. The sovereign doesn't negotiate with illusions. It radiates clarity and lets the weak fall away. So let me ask you now, point blank, if you were no longer afraid to be powerful, if you stopped pretending to be soft so others could stay comfortable, what would your energy do to this world? What would your voice undo? What would your presence destroy and rebuild simultaneously? That is the question of the black crown. That is the frequency of the new era. And it's not coming, it's already here. It's in your spine, in your solar plexus, in your shadow, in your mission. And if you've made it this far, then I'm not speaking to a seeker anymore. I'm speaking to a weapon that remembers its name. The old systems are trembling. False light is glitching. The veil is thinnest when power is claimed without apology. And you dark chosen one are the walking glitch, the divine error in their code, the anomaly they can't control, the presence they can't predict. Now rise, not to be seen, not to be praised, but because the grid is waiting, the field is listening, and the illusion is cracking, because you didn't just come to awaken, you came to reign.